everybody, and welcome back to the Sideline Eye podcast. We're looking ahead to the first round of the All-Ireland series, the group stages. It's Armagh taking on Westmeath this Saturday in the Boxhead Athletic Grounds. I'm delighted to be joined by former Westmeath footballer Ger Egan, and he's going to help us look ahead to the big game coming up this weekend. Ger, brilliant to get you on and give us a Westmeath perspective heading into the weekend. It's been a long time for Westmeath. I think we were knocked out maybe 6 weeks ago, knocked out of the Leinster Championship. So it's been a long wait from Westmeath had a game.
Yeah, it is a long wait. I suppose, they had Loud nearly dead and buried at half time, and the way it worked out. So I know the lads were bitterly disappointed. But I suppose we saw what Mayo did to Kerry with got the 6 week break, you know what I mean? So, hopefully they can go into the Armagh game, kind of revitalise, maybe a few niggles dried up. You never know what game will bring.
I suppose there's two sides that you have the Mayo side that you get 6 weeks off and you come back mad looking action, and you have the Tyrone side, you get 6 weeks off and you come back and you still get beat. So it depends on the result, I suppose, if it's a good or a bad thing.
Exactly. I think in Tyrone's case, probably Galway were the most informed team in the country. Just they're ticking along there. They stick to the process. I think it's a very tough game for Tyrone to go into. And as you said, yeah, it's the both sides of the coin. If the one you would think, Jesus, the 6 week break is the only way to go going forward. But the likes of Mayo, I think they put so much into the league that the 6 weeks probably will do them the world of good. And I suppose time will only tell.
And Jared, it's the group of death. It's Armagh and Westmeath up this week. It was Tyrone Galway next week, last week. Then next week Armagh play Tyrone, yourselves play Galway. So it probably was, when the draw was made, it was the group of death. And I'm sure from a Westmeath point of view, you'd agree with that.
Yeah, and I think who was it? Sean Cavan said it's more like the group of life with three teams going through. But yeah, look, it is. It's a very difficult group. Um, I suppose our history with Northern teams wouldn't be good. You could even see with the league this year. We were well ahead against Down as well. Fermanagh Betis as well. So um, yeah, it will be tough. There's three tough games. So just I hope the lads put big performances in. As you know, you never know where you'll end after 70 minutes.
I suppose the big thing is, as you say, the group of life maybe. If you get one win, you're basically through to the knockout stages anyway. So what team do you think would Westmeath be up in that group that is their best chance of getting a win?
It's hard. It's hard. No. I think home advantage is going to be huge. I think there is an advantage there for any side that's a home, and Westmeath in Cusack Park, we've a decent run there. You know what I mean? We've put up the big teams there. So you could say maybe our home game, even though, as I said, we're probably against the most informed team in the country in Galway. One thing I'd say, just I suppose at Armagh, obviously we've seen their performance against Derry. Very unlucky, like to come out on the losing side of it. The hangover of that, it'll depend what way Armagh kind of come out of that as well. I know it could be very hard to pick yourself up after losing a final. So maybe like if Westmeath could really get dug in that first half, you wouldn't know where they'll be, and in Armagh really have to come and answer the questions. But as I said, we don't know.
That's one of the talking points, I suppose, going into the game, Jer, is the fact that Armagh are coming off that Ulster final defeat. It was such a long time waiting to get to an Ulster final and such a good build up to the game, and the flatness that you would imagine was in that changing room and the hurt after the game and the long drawn out process of again losing on penalties. How difficult is it to come back from something like that, Jer, from your experience? And given that it's a 2 week turnaround, is that a good or a bad thing that you have to turn your focus nearly immediately? You don't have time to dwell on it?
Yeah, I suppose I probably have bad examples that we've gone into Leinster finals there. I fully believe that we're going to go and win, but I don't know if we really did have a chance on Dublin bet as well in finals, being realistic. So, but I do know, like, there's such highs and emotion, and like your whole county's behind you, and you bring yourself up to such a level there to, right, okay, I'm going to perform now. And then, as you said, it's such a quick turnover. And for Armagh, in Armagh's case, they got so close. I'd say the emotion of that is quadruple of kind of what I felt. So it will be interesting to see what the energy will be like on the field from Armagh from where go. Their home advantage is going to be huge to them. That'll definitely help. That's what I was trying to say from a Westmeath point of view. If they could approach the game and attack it the way they did against Loud, and maybe get the learnings from it as well, it could put them in good stead. But it must be extremely difficult to pick yourself back up in our case.
And is that first 10 minutes going to be vital, Ger, that if Westmeath come out all guns blazing, maybe go a couple of points up, and Armagh just haven't got to the pitch of it in the first 10 minutes? Is that what Westmeath's going to be targeting, maybe?
I'm not in the dressing room anymore, but you'd imagine just from the 6 week break, I'm sure even the lads would be delighted to get another game, to be energetic, to get going. As I said, Armagh's a very, very tough place to go. It's a hostile environment, you know what I mean? So like there'll be huge home advantage there as well. But I'd hope that they would go and they'd really make a go out of it in the first 15 minutes and ask them questions. And as I said, my experience of playing Armagh, they bring the physicality, they nearly bully you off the field. So like we need to match that physicality there. So there's a lot of little elements to it. But I would like to see them get a good start and just maybe putting that small bit out in their heads.
And this is actually the third time Armagh have met Westmeath in the championship. The other two were in the qualifiers, 2017 and 18, and you played in both of them games, Ger. So what sort of games were there? How did you find playing against Armagh? I remember there was one game Ethan Raverty come on as a sub and got a goal at the end. That was a really tight, tense game. I think Armagh pulled away by 4 or 5 maybe in the end. But what did you make of them games back in the 17 and 18?
Yeah, I think I actually got sent off in one of them games. I'm trying to think of the two games. I know there was one that it was kind of, as you said, it was tight and then they kind of dragged away at the end. But as I said, just fiercely physical, to bring a huge support. I nearly felt like I was in Armagh for the game, even though I was in Cusack Park. So that's what I'm saying. I think if we can match them in the physical stakes, I think as everyone's kind of aware, there's great football and talent in Westmeath, but it's to just get the mix of both. We've great attacking players in our squad, and it's just, I suppose, mixing the rough and tumble with the free flowing football.
And last year, I suppose coming through the Talton Cup, it was great scenes in Mullingar and all last year after Westmeath won the Talton Cup. And obviously the big prize was it guaranteed Sam Maguire football for this year. Do you think of Westmeath built on that properly? I suppose they had an indifferent league campaign, knocked out the first round of Leinster. Did they get that Talton Cup bounce that maybe you were expecting?
Probably not. As I said, I'm not in the dressing room. It's hard to know what their objectives were at the start of the year. But I'd imagine getting out of Division 3 was one of them. So, look, I suppose I had another interview regarding just say the Talton Cup. I think the Talton Cup is very, very important, especially for your so-called weaker teams. You saw exactly the scenes that we brought, from winning. So it was a huge achievement for us. I think the only way to measure, I suppose, the success of the Talton Cup and the development of the teams is over the next few years. You can't really make it off one, and we'll see. We'll just say if when Mead win it this year, we'll say for an example, will they push on? I do think there's a huge step from the first top 10 teams to everyone else, or the top 8. So, I think if the bet loud, we've had a good history against Offaly. We could be in Leinster final. It was like, geez, something. They are after pushing on. Another thing I'd say from the Westmeath perspective is the core group of lads that are there are 12 or 13 years in the road. When you get such a success like that, which we never really had, I suppose it's hard to pick yourself back up again. You know what I mean? I think them lads are coming to the end of their journey. You know what I mean? So maybe the hunger, desire just isn't there. I don't know. But there's a lot of different factors. But I think over the next few years, we'll really know the success of the Tailteann Cup. But it can only be good getting 3 or 4 or 5 more games in the championship, where there was years I played and I was only getting 2 games in the championship, you know?
And when you were playing it last year, Ger, were you playing it where we have to win this to get into the Sam Maguire? Or was it very much you're winning it to get a piece of silverware to get winning on All Ireland in Croke Park? Or was the main goal always this is our quickest route to Sam Maguire?
Probably a bit of both. We lost to Kildare in the semi-final, and I remember Jack brought us in. We were training the downs, and he goes, "Right, lads, we're really going for this Tailteann Cup now." He said, "There's great individual and collective incentives, and from a Westmeath perspective, and all the rest." So, we just gradually got better throughout the rounds. Can't say we're playing brilliantly until we got to Croke Park, and we put a very good performance in against Cavan. I suppose Kieran just a moment of magic won us first. But definitely the incentive of silverware. As I said, lower division teams lifting the trophy in Croke Park, not too common. And as you said, I think getting the exposure of playing the likes of Armagh, Tyrone, and Galway, where we probably would never, maybe we might get one game in the qualifier playing a team like that, and we're out. Do you know what I mean? So like we've 3 games there where we have a chance. You know, we can really go at Armagh in the first game, see where we're at, regroup, and you have 2 more games there to really go at. As you said, one game and you have another game in the championship. So like, probably going back to your point about was the Tailteann Cup a good thing for Westmeath. I think the next 3 games will tell a lot as well, you know?
Yeah, I suppose that's where you're really going to find out if you have made the step up or not, really. That from that Tailteann Cup till competing in the Sam Maguire race is not this going to be the proof's going to be in the pudding now over the next 3 weeks.
Literally, yeah.
And Ger, I suppose when you're talking about that, I suppose Westmeath, you have great forwards, and that was shown in the Tailteann Cup last year in the final. I think it was at Ronan O'Toole. You got the goal along the soccer style goal, and there's Luke Loughlin, John Haslin as well. That's probably the big names in the Westmeath team would all be sort of star attackers. Would that be fair to say?
Yeah, I suppose. I suppose that there was what 6 of them getting the Tailteann All Star last year. You Kevin Maguire and Jack Smith in the full back line, very very good defenders. Now, I can honestly say probably Kevin Maguire is the best Westmeath player I've played with. Now, he's our full back, just a machine. Like he'll take the best forward every game. Do you know what I mean? And over 12 years, you know, taking the best player in every single team is fair going. Do you know what I mean? And there wasn't too many times now where I've seen him be better. Put it that way. But yeah, there is X factor up front. Obviously, Ronan got huge plaudits out from the Tailteann Cup last year. He's a great footballer brain. Honest to God, I've never seen anything like it. John Heston, obviously, we know regarding freeze and all the rest. So there is top players there, but it's just, I suppose, getting the best out of them all in the one day and mixing, as I said, the collective defensive effort and getting the right ball into these lads. So there's definitely talent and football there, but it's just to get out of everyone at the one time, you know?
What sort of style do Westmeath play, Ger? Because we're naming all these good attacking forwards. Desi Dolan, one of the best forwards of his generation, is the manager. So I'm assuming they're going to play on the front foot. But is that how it transpires, or what sort of style of play do we expect from Westmeath?
I suppose I think every team in the country is very defensive. They have to be. You know, they're getting 13, 14 players behind the ball. I suppose from Desi's point of view and all the rest, obviously a very attack-minded man. I suppose if you'd like to say Westmeath want to play front foot football, but realistic when you're going up against the top teams, you can't be going out and maybe saying leaving 4 forwards up front or do you know what I mean? So I think you're going to get a mix, and I think you have to have the mix, but it's just having that transition from back to front, having the control over the game. That okay, if we can't. No, everything is quick football up the field. I suppose Derry are probably the experts of that, and Galway that just we slow it down, we bring it up, we get everyone set up. Do you know what I mean? Like a game of chess. So I think Jason Sherlock was brought in there, huge experience. Obviously dealing with Jim Gavin, he's been there, done it. So like I'm hearing great reports from it, like what he's bringing to the play. So I suppose answering your question, like any team, they want to play front foot football, but I think it'll be very much, especially playing Armagh, Tyrone, and Galway. It's going to be defensive, turning over, and as I said, trying to exploit it the best way they can.
I think is John Keane part of the management too? Is he
He
in it?
is, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, another well-renowned
brilliant,
team from that
yeah.
Westmeath team.
Yeah, there's good from a coaching back and a management, like there's good mix there, you know. Um, there is a good mix, and I suppose as I said, uh, Desi and Jake Haig stayed on there from last year, get that continuity, you know. So that's important for players as well. It's when a new manager comes in, there could be a lot of change and all the rest. So I hope the best of what we see at Westmeath this year comes in the next 3 rounds. And even though it could be 3 losses, it could be our 3 best performances. Does that make sense? So yeah, it'd be interesting to see. It would be very, very interesting to see what comes.
And you mentioned Kevin Maguire picking up the best man. I assume that means he's going to go on Rian O'Neill here on Saturday.
Yeah, you'd imagine, but like Green plays very much. He kind of has that free license to go from midfield to full forward. Do you know what I mean? So, um, you'd imagine he will. I know Turbott's a very, very. He's been very, very good this year. I suppose he's probably a bit quieter than they would have wanted him to be in the Ulster final, but he could be picking up him. I generally don't know, but obviously, really, he's going to need a lot of attention as well. Whoever is picking him up.
And what have you made of Armagh this year? Ger, obviously disappointing league campaign, getting relegated. Played well in a lot of games, like Kerry, and we beat them by a point, Galway by 2. Roscommon was beat them by 3. I think that was the most they were beat by in the entire league. Good championship run, getting to the Ulster final. Heartbreak again on penalties. So what have you made of their 2023 campaign?
I suppose indifferent as well, but they're as you said, they're putting good performances in. Do you know something? I think I was, wouldn't say surprised is probably a bad word. With the performance they put in against Derry, I thought Derry would have too much for them, to be honest. Just the way they performed, the way they were dispatching the teams and all the rest. So I was very, very impressed with how they handled Derry, and probably should have won. Let's be honest. Um, it was well documented that I suppose when they went a man up that they should have just put Derry to the sword, you know, but easier said than done. So I think that performance in the Ulster final maybe put them up 2 or 3 notches in terms of all Ireland contenders. Do you know what I mean? But I think we'll say, I guarantee you probably in their dressing room they're looking at right here, we're going to target Westmeath, we'll get a win, and we probably have 3 4 weeks, tweak a few things before we go into an Ireland quarter final. Do you know what I mean? So I think their year a lot will depend again over the next 6 weeks, where they want to be. But I do think they're in the right direction. You know, there was a huge performance against Derry.
And what stood out for you against Derry, Ger? Was it individual performances? Was it the way they were sort of mirrored Derry, and obviously the unfortunate goal they give away just was the difference in the end that Armagh couldn't push on and get past that? But what really stood out for you against Derry from an Armagh point of view?
I suppose that, yeah, like when you're looking at Derry, they nearly just dismantle teams, don't they? Tactically and fitness, and they got Everton right, I suppose. Baron McGuigan having an exhibition, you know, he really just was the difference. They were very, very disciplined in defence. I know what do you call him, the midfielder for Derry
Glass,
scored the one
Rogers.
two. Yeah, Rogers was closed down very well in the second half. Like they identified key matchups there, you know. Um, Glass was brilliant, but also I thought they did a good job in him as well, you know, sort of way. So it just shows the kind of the tactical awareness of McGeaney as well there, and the approach, and I suppose the energy they put into the game. They've, I suppose, they would have liked maybe one more forward to be kind of unsung in the Ulster final, and they probably would have got them over the line. Where the likes of Grugan and Murnan were probably, or Turbot. You know what I mean? If one of them had to just come as well, I think that would have been enough to get you over the line in the end. But that's fair play to Derry as well, you know.
When you don't, as a forward, I suppose, when you don't have that impact that you would have wanted, and you named a couple of players there, and we spoke about that in our review show with Aaron Kiernan a couple of weeks ago after the final. In the 2 weeks there, the likes of Rory, Andrew Murnan, Conor Turbot, they're probably simmering and they can't wait to get going again, to get on the score sheet and get up and running.
Exactly. I always find if I had a bad game, I nearly work harder over the first 2 weeks and be like, right, I'm not going to have another one. And I guarantee you they'll be the same, you know. They'll want to be, as you said, take and get and go and get me ball quick, you know what I mean? So, as I said, it'll be interesting to see where the energy levels or what the approach will be like from Armagh, what the hangover is going to be like. And it'll also be from a Westmeath point of view, where's the energy level is going to be like there. After 6 weeks, you can be a little bit rusty. You can have all the in-house games you want. So there's a lot of we can think we can predict something, but we won't know until I suppose the first 15 minutes will tell a lot, you know.
And where do you see Armagh in the race for Sam Maguire, Jerry? You said there that their final performance maybe knocked them up a couple of places in terms of All-Ireland contenders. Where do you see them? Do you see them really having a go at this and having a big say?
I think, yeah, I do. I do think they'll have a big say. This is the first year of the new All Ireland series, so I think there's a lot of guesswork for managers and teams of how to time your run in this series, you know. So I think teams will want to be getting that win under their belt, and then to be, I'd say, it'd be just like, right, okay, we're going to recess again, and we're going to get ready for an All Ireland quarter final. But the likes of Croke Park suits Armagh, I think, their style of football. You know, where other teams, like you see Derry and Croke Park, they haven't been good, like, do you know what I mean? So like, and but in Ulster, they can't be stopped. So um it's hard to know. Like Kerry's, they've been indifferent this year, but that Clifford there, he could just turn it on, and like it's hard to know, have they, after the Munster final, have they really gone hard training there? How much do they really want to beat Mayo? So like there's a lot of questions that can't be really answered at the moment. But answering your question, I think Armagh has as good as chance as anyone, but they need a big, big win in Croke Park. And then I think that'll give them the belief to just go, right, we have a chance here. And then the likes of their four main forwards that we mentioned there, they need to be ticking. Do you know what I mean? Like, forwards win you games, you know?
Hopefully we get a run out in Croke Park and we can get that big win, Ger, later on in the year. Just before I let you go, Ger, who do you see winning this game? Obviously, Armagh are the favourites. Their home advantage as well, as we touched on. Do you see Westmeath are the fit to pull a shock here, or how do you see it panning out?
I'd like to hope there'd be a shock. Look, obviously Armagh are favourites. It's up in the Gaelic grounds. It'll be a very, very tough assignment. I said we don't have the greatest of history against Armagh in championship, anyways. So look, I suppose Armagh would definitely be favourites going into it. I just hope that Westmeath bring the energy and the learnings from the northern teams that they played this year. And I suppose Louder, we put down them in the northern bracket, that what they showed in the first half by breaking down a kind of blanket defence, what can be done, but just putting 70 minutes together, like, I think everyone knows that's Westmeath's problem, is just the consistency of putting 70 minutes performance together. So I'll tip Armagh reluctantly, but I hope it's a good game and I hope to put a huge performance in. That's my hopes from the game.
Good stuff, Gerald. Hopefully your prediction comes through, that it's a good game, a tight game, but Armagh come out and top in the end. We'll all be happy. Gerald, brilliant. Thanks for coming on, giving us your thoughts. Really appreciate it.
No problem.